I'm your host, Solana Lewis, and today is a very special episode because I got to invite world record holder and public figure, keynote speaker, Tamara Walcott. We had such an amazing conversation, really going through everything from when she first started lifting to the life-altering event, really, for powerlifting and herself. And she broke the all-time record, the strongest deadlift any woman's ever completed at 636 pounds. Did that back in 2021. And then her life really exploded from there. And she has been just taking over the world, doing things that I never thought the sport of powerlifting could actually put someone in position to do. So she is an incredible, so she's a firecracker, really. So I hope you guys love this episode. If you do love it, please share it with a friend. And don't forget to leave us a 5-star rating and review on whatever you're listening on. And let's go ahead and dive into today's episode. Okay, guys, I am super excited for this guest who I had the pleasure of meeting last week.
I know, we turned up.
Party.
We turned up on a yacht.
We did. Oh my God. Thought I was going to throw up at first because there was a lot of movement on that yacht, but then it got better.
Yeah, it did. It was fun. It was fun, though.
But I have the Tamara Walcott. How are you this morning?
I am doing as good as I can do. I'm here. I'm standing 10 toes down. I'm good. I'm good.
So happy to hear that. I'm so excited because I mentioned this to you last week, but I learned about you when I went to the showdown in 2021. And I was like, yo, like, who is this person? And that was when, like, your whole life changed and you didn't know it yet, right after that deadlift that we're going to talk about. And then I got to watch everything from like then to now. I've just been paying attention to everything. I'm like, yo, I have watched you explode. Like, I feel like you're like a sunflower that like bloomed like, over the years. And
I love that. I love that. I love that because I call myself a dandelion. So, you know, when you blow a dandelion in the wind, it just like takes off. And I just love where we are in powerlifting as Black women. And I feel like that's exactly what happened after that. I saw you, I saw just everyone coming out of the woodworks. And I was like, I love this. I'm staying. So yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah, the timing is so impeccable too. Cause like I really feel like that was when Black women started to like more enter the sport.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great.
Okay, so before we dive into that, I want to go back to when you first started powerlifting, you did USAPL.
I did. I started with USAPL. That was me doing my first competition. I just went online. I signed up for one because it was local. So I think the first one that I did, it was downtown Baltimore. I can't remember the exact name of it, but I have videos of me and my coach stretching. He's like, yeah, this is her in her element. And I didn't even know what was going on, to be honest. I did really good at that meet. I think I did good. I think I came in first at that meet in my weight class. But the most that I think I deadlifted was 396. So to see where I started and where I ended up, and then I did do the 2019 nationals, 29 USAPL nationals. The only reason I switched over though, my coach, him in USAPL, he was like, oh, there's too many rules and too many like coaches have to do this. And it was like, coach. So I just kind of went where he went.
That's so funny.
Yes, I started with USAPL.
That's fair though, because I will say it depends on what your goals are. But if you want to really have fun with more leniency and like different bars and stuff, like untested USPA, US like WRPF, like it is a very different vibe. So if you like that vibe, it makes a whole lot of sense.
Yeah. We started partying because I think what I ended up doing after that, like once I broke into stuff, then I was invited to the Kern in 2020. So I did USAPL and I came in 19th. I would have came in 5th if I was able to pull 496, but I couldn't lock it out. So it was like right up there, but I just couldn't lock it out. Someone in the crowd was like, give it to her. And I was like, oh, stop. I don't want it if it's not mine. And then I went right over to the Kern in 2020. And yeah, it's history. Just kind of stayed and partied.
I love it. I love it. So when you did the showdown in 2021, so you talked about how you really had no idea that you were even hitting a world record deadlift and it was for your second attempt too, that you went for it the first time. And then can you just remind me what happened on the second attempt? I know you didn't get it for some reason, right?
I was so excited, did not wait for the down command, and I just dropped it. Like, that is how new I was. That's what I don't think people realize, just how new I was to the sport. Like, I competed a few times, but still a lot of technicalities that I wasn't like really like made for. Like, the athlete that I am today, I'm going to wait for that down command. The athlete that I was in 2021 was just happy to be there. And I'm like, I got it up. It's over. And I set it down. So I had to do it a third time, and it was even better the third time. So yeah.
I'll never
And I
forget.
held it. I held it. They had to like tell me twice to put it down.
I feel
Yeah.
like you held it for so long. I feel like even the front ref was like in awe of what was happening, because there was so much cheering. Like, I've never been in an electric environment like that in my life. When you pull 636 on the third attempt, the entire room was roaring. I can feel like my insides were shaking, and I feel like the referee was holding it forever. He was like, "What's going on? Oh shoot, let me give her a
There's
down."
actually a video of that. And he actually told me that he got so caught up. There is a video. I don't know if I still have it, because whoever was taking it from the back, like, I locked it out, and you can see him doing like, and then he was down. It was great. But it was crazy. I could feel the energy. And I think coupled with the music that I was playing too, like, people didn't expect that I would be playing like In the Night by Phil Collins, and everything just happened as the beat dropped. It was just
I thought it was
everything.
"I'm Too Sexy." Why did I think it was that song?
No, it was Phil Collins, In the Air.
Okay.
Listen, I like, I'm a like, when it comes to the music that I listen to, it's so like eclectic, it's all over the place. So it really depends on how I'm feeling. And I had lost my grandmother, and one of the things that she always enjoyed me doing was deadlifting. So that moment was dedicated to her. Like, that moment was dedicated to her. Yeah.
Well, I know she's looking down at you super happy, like, well, it couldn't have gone better. So,
I know.
oh,
I
that's
know.
incredible. Okay,
Oh
so
man.
after that, we all took that one picture together where we got like all the Black women in the room together, which is
Yes.
an iconic moment in my opinion. I was so happy to be there.
I feel like it was 20 of us. It was a lot of us. And that's the first time I met Barbara Lee. And Barbara Lee was coming back from her injury. And she was like, girl, just go out there and do the best you can do. And I'm like, I'm so excited to meet you. I'm so excited to be here. It was great. It was great.
Barbara is dope. So
Yeah.
after that, can you kind of give me an idea of like when did you realize how big of a deal 636 was? Because I feel like from me on my side, I just all of a sudden was like, Ulta, Ellen DeGeneres, all this stuff is happening. But like, I also know I'm putting a lot of years really close together because as someone just watching you, I'm like, it happened in 5 minutes. I know it didn't take 5 minutes, but what was like the first
Yeah.
thing where you were like, yo,
Yeah.
a big company reached out to me?
The next day. So
Okay.
so I go home, the room's going crazy, right? First of all, Solana, I'll be completely honest with you. Still being new to being a baby lifter, Dan kept saying, Tamara, you know what you're gonna do, right? He's like, you know what you're about to do. And in my mind, I'm just like, yeah, I'm about to go break my record. I've been working to pull over 600 for so long. Now, mind you, I think the most that I pulled in the gym was 606.
Oh,
So I didn't even know 636 was on the bar. So, and that's the kind of lifter that I was. I don't care what number is on the bar. Coach, don't tell me, because I'm gonna move it. You put it on there, you know I can do it. I'm gonna move it. So I didn't know 636 was on the actual bar when I pulled it that night. I knew after I hugged him and he said, "You did it." And that's when I knew exactly what was done. But I knew that I was there to break my own record, and I've never pulled 600 before in competition, and that's what I wanted to do. It wasn't until the next morning everything went viral. I think SportsCenter was the first one to kind of pick it up. I remember texting my daughter, like, how do you turn off these notifications? Because my phone won't stop pinging all night. Like, what's going on? And that's when everyone started to reach out. Girl, you know, you viral. Girl, you know, there was like this culture hip hop page. I can't remember which one it was, but I was on that page. I was on SportsCenter. Then ESPN Women reached out to me and was like, hey, we want to put you in this ad. And I think that's the first ad that I was in. But when I got back to town, Fox 45 wanted to do a special on me. And that's when everything kind of like blew up. That's how Ellen saw me, because apparently that local news went to all the national pockets, like they have a folder, and they pulled it immediately and everyone started sharing it. And that's how they saw it in Los Angeles. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, so at this point, and this point's like I guess a weekend, like how
Mhm.
what were your next steps? Like you have to like get a sister or somebody to help you, right? Because you have like a million people repeating you up. Like how did you like even
Yeah.
start to navigate how to make this like something that can get
And
make
that's
you
the thing. That's the thing. So I actually did the Fox 45 news thing. And I remember going viral and I was like, there's really not any power lifters that I see that are sponsored athletes. So if Sports Center is picking this up, like we must be doing something right. What am I going to do with this? So I reached out to my sister. And it's crazy because someone asked me like, who do you think mentors you the other day? And I was like, you know what? The only person that mentors me is my sister. So I reached out to my sister and I was like, Toya, I feel like this is something. I feel like I have something here. What do I do next? And she's like, why don't you reach out to our cousin Glennis? Like her husband's a lawyer and see if he has like any suggestions. So he's like, you know what? I went to school with this attorney and he actually manages like football players. So I'm glad I reached out to him because then a week later, Ellen called and I kept hanging up the phone. This number just kept calling. And I'm like, what is this number? Now, mind you, I'm a divorced mom, one income now. Being divorced, I went from 2 income household to a 1 income household. I literally had bill collectors calling me for a period in my life. And I was like, I'm not answering the phone. So I actually hung up on Ellen a few times, her producer at least. But when I finally answered, she was on the other line. And they kind of took the lead for me. They were the middleman that like set up the appointments and navigated like, oh, you want her to be on this show? This is what her fee is. You want her to do this? This is what her fee is. You want her to do that? Now, I didn't charge Ellen a fee or anything of that nature. Fees came later.
Mhm.
But when I went on the Ellen show, she gave me $15,000 and I used that money to pay my manager that I have now, a publicist that I have now, and someone who does my marketing for me. And everyone looked at me, my family, my friends, they were like, you're crazy, you're gonna take that money and just, how do you know they're gonna get you other deals? And they did. Alta started calling and Project Rock reached out. And there's so many other things in the woodwork that I wish I can share with you right now, but I can't. But there's so many other things. And I'm so glad that I spent that $15,000 on that because then after everything happened, I was able to pay off all these bill collectors.
So this says so much because a lot of people could have taken the money, but like, oh my god, like I need it, like I need to pay a bill, let me just hoard it and be done. And it's like, hold on, if you
Mhm.
invest in people who can help you, if you really investing in yourself by investing in them, that can
Yeah.
make it 10 times bigger.
Yeah, you got to spend money to make money. You definitely have to spend money to make money. So I didn't keep any of that 15,000. Yeah, I might have took my kids on a little weekend trip or something like that, but I spent all that money on hiring a team. Yeah.
And another thing you mentioned, so how recent was the divorce, if you don't mind me asking, from when you pulled that 636?
So the divorce happened in 2017. So I was divorced in 2017, living on my own, and then I pulled in 2021 the first all-time world record.
Oh my God. Like
Yeah.
that's such a major life shift because I do also remember you posting. I know you've had also a huge weight loss journey, and you were like, no, one of your lowest points was you. I don't know if it was a podcast you mentioned like a bra breaking or something, and
Oh
that
yeah.
was
So
your
my
lowest
bra
point.
was digging. My bra. I remember the breaking point for me was when I had to take my son's baby socks. I was leaving to go to work one day, and I had to take my son's baby sock because the wire in the bra. I got so big that I couldn't buy bra. My bra is big enough unless I went to go get one custom made. That it was digging into my skin. That my skin became translucent and it was bleeding. And the only way to kind of stop it, I like grabbed his socks before I went out the front door and I put it in my shirt and like under my bra. And I was like, that's how I lived for a few weeks, like in discomfort. Until I finally was like, nah, I can't do this anymore. Yep.
That I mean, that has to be like such an interesting moment where you're like, yo, like I have to buy custom clothes. Like that's
Yeah.
hard.
Yeah. And I remember putting on a pair of pants that I bought the week before and they couldn't fit. They fit
Mm.
the week before and they couldn't fit. So those moments in my life, I kind of looked at my kids and I was like, yo, I am going to eat myself to death. Like, it is time to make a change. And I made that change. I started from the inside out. Like, whatever I put in I started telling myself mantras like, what you put in is what you get out. Your body's your temple. I remember being in McDonald's drive-thru because my kids are kids. They still enjoy McDonald's. I'm not going to deprive them of stuff because of me. And I remember sitting there. That's around the time when McDonald's still had like the ranch wraps. And I was like, when you get there, do not say Big Mac, Tamara. Say you want a chicken wrap with no ranch. Say it. And I just remember doing that over and over until it just got easier. And over time, I didn't crave the things that I wanted before because I kind of shifted my mindset.
What do you think it was before that led you to kind of eating yourself essentially potentially to death?
The marriage that I was in, like, I was not happy. We were two ships passing in the night. I would come home, take care of my kids. They would go to school. I would give them the showers. I helped them with the homework. I cooked the meals. I lost myself. I lost myself. I don't even know if it's necessarily anything that my ex-husband could have really helped or prevented. I probably could have raised my hand and asked for more help, but I don't know how to ask for help. All I know is how to survive and get things done on my own. Asking for help has been something that I've learned now in my 30s if I need it, but it's not something that I knew. I've always been able to just do things on my own. And we were just two ships passing in the night. And yeah, I wasn't taking care of me anymore.
So just seeing you now, because now like you're more than just a world record holder, coach. You're also a public speaker, a keynote speaker, public figure, and I can tell your message is very much like love yourself, take care of you, and invest in you. How did your mindset shift to that? That must have been like a massive shift. That like from someone watching, I'm like, oh, this happened in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? But like
Yeah,
no,
I know. That's what it feels like, right? No, that should happen over time. Like, it took time to kind of get to where you guys see me today. But I think one of the things that always rings true, and one of the things that I've stood by from day one that's never shifted, when I decided to make the change, it was like, tomorrow, you versus you. Don't look low, don't look left because that person's smaller than you and say, oh, they're lifting more than me. Don't look right and say, oh, this person's the same size as me and they're still doing better. You not being able to have any energy to do things on the weekends, you just working 9 to 5, you not calling out sick and asking your mom if she can take care of your kids or take them to their doctor's appointment because you're so focused on doing stuff for corporate America. I said, you know what? Fuck all that. At the end of the day, if I'm not taking care of myself, then I can't take care of the people around me. And that's where the you versus you mentality came in. That's why I didn't care what was on the bar. That's why I didn't care what competition I was showing up to and who was there. That's why I still don't care. And at the end of the day, I'm not going there to beat anyone else's numbers. I'm going there to beat my own. I just so happen to kick other people's asses in the process, but that's not why I show up. I show up because I'm there to beat myself. So that shift happened over time, and I became the person that I used to be. Because another thing, Solana, I've always been an athlete. I threw shot put in high school. I played volleyball. I played basketball. My mom played softball. My dad was a boxer. It's in my blood. It is in my blood, but I lost my way because for a long time in my life, I got married and I thought it was just about taking care of your kids, taking care of your husband, paying your bills, and I forgot about me. And I still take care of my kids now. I have a relationship. I still take care of my man. I still do great at work. Like, I'm a great coach, but what I don't neglect now is taking care of myself. I now understand that it's okay to disconnect to reconnect and to be a little bit selfish in order to be selfless for yourself. And that's kind of what I focus on.
I love hearing this because I feel like women in general, but also really Black women, we're taught to like serve, 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 serve.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta get married, serve a man. You gotta serve a
Yeah.
kid. You gotta serve, serve. I
Yeah.
mean, like even me just being 28, like the people in my immediate family or like my family in general, they're heavily bothered that I'm not like married and I don't want kids because I should be serving, 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 and I'm like I'm just existing and enjoying my life. So it's truly something that we are like, it's like ingrained and taught to all of us as like children to serve. And no one mentions serving yourself.
It broke up a little bit. I didn't hear the end part.
As I know I did break up a little bit. I said it's ingrained in us, or like we're always taught to serve, and no one talks about serving yourself.
Right. Right. And it's the things that I saw too growing up. My grandmother worked up until she retired, like till she was like in her 50s. My mom is 68 right now and still working. Like there's nothing wrong with working, but as Black women, all I've seen them do in my life is work, 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 work. I'm still working, but I'm working smarter, not harder, right? That's what I did with that 15,000. I could have, my mom, my grandmother probably would have taken that and taken care of, like bought the kids new clothes and new shoes and new this and new that. But I did something a little bit different. I made a huge risk because in order to make money, you got to spend money. And sometimes you have to take risk as long as they're calculated risk. I think it's worth it. And that's why some people are afraid to do that. But it's not just about working. You have to it's not just about taking care of others. You got to take care of yourself, or you're not going to be able to take care of others around you.
Tell me about Ulta. Like, I want to understand, first of all, is it difficult? I know it's not you investing and people do it for you, but is it hard to like get people to pay your rates? Have you ever had a situation where they're trying to like not give you what you asked for?
I don't have those conversations.
Okay,
That's why I have a team.
that's fair.
Yeah. So I don't know what those conversations look like. Yeah. I have a team that takes care of that. And I think it's important to just know your worth and know that at the end of the day, there are advertising dollars out there waiting to be spent. And if you have something and you are an athlete that offers that brand something, that you should stand on that. But it's an easier conversation to have when you're not the one having it. So it doesn't seem like you're the one asking for too much. You're supposed to know as well, like what to ask. You know what I mean? Like what's industry standards. Yeah, it's like all of those things are important, and I don't know that business part of it, so that's why I hired a team.
Makes sense, because yeah, if you're the one in the middle, that sounds actually horrible.
Yeah,
It's like if
yeah.
someone says no to you, you're like you're saying like they're like saying it to you. So you're
Like,
like,
what do you say? Like they're saying it to you. Yeah, no. And one of the things that I did really well, I think, before all of this started is, and I want to say this just for my powerlifters that are listening and watching, is I really didn't take a lot of sponsorships. Like a lot of companies came to me like, do you want to wear my clothes? Do you want to smell my salt? Do you want to do this? Did you want to do this for this 10% discount? And I always just said, no, thank you. This is before the all-time world record. I was like, no, it's okay. No, it's okay, because that's free advertising.
yeah.
Like at the end of the day, they may not tell you, but they are getting you to give them they're using you for free advertising. So yeah, I didn't do a lot of that either, which made it easy for me to be sold.
Okay, so now tell me about Ulta, because that was my favorite thing ever.
Huh? Oh
Tell me
yeah,
about Ulta.
Ulta was an absolute experience. I think one of my most memorable experiences with Ulta is, so they flew me out. Everything's always first class when I fly out. And car service, it's really, really great. And I pull up and get on set doing my makeup, and I look left and they're like, oh, that's Zuri Marley. And I was like, Bob Marley Grandata, not Bob Marley's granddaughter, like in a commercial with me. And I'm like, I listened to Bob Marley growing up. I sung Three Little Birds to my kids. Like, that's the song that I sung to them to put them to sleep. And it's like, I'm standing here at a commercial shoot with Bob Marley's granddaughter. So all of us had our own individual scenes. Like, I actually used real weights on the commercial because I was in prep. I remember sending my video to Dan and he's like, where the hell are you? Because I had one of the cameramen on set. I was like, I'm in prep. I'm competing in 2 weeks. So I really need to send this 585 top set to my coach. And I send it to him and he's like, Tamara, where are you? And as you being a coach, Solana, I'm a coach as well. If one of my clients told me that they were flying across country 2 weeks out, I would have been like, no. Absolutely not.
During the
Absolutely not. Like, the fatigue. It's just so much fatigue and so much things like in behind it. So anyway, I walk in this empty room. There's nothing in it at all. By the time I go to wardrobe, put on my clothes, I do my makeup, I come back, the room is set up and it's like thousands of cameras everywhere, every angle, lights, makeup people. They brought in all the equipment, and it was just as quickly as they set it up, we did the shoot, and as quickly as they broke it down. Another thing that I've been manifesting, and that's something that the powerlifting community, I think you guys need to say and do, and all these things, everything that I've done to this day, Solana, I've manifested. So one of the things I manifested, and I'm still manifesting it as we speak, is Fenty. So I'm really big on Riri. I'm really big on Riri, and I was like, oh my God, I hope it's something with Fenty. It absolutely was. So I was trying on Fenty lip gloss. So that's one of the products that I was using in Ulta, was trying on her Fenty lip gloss and stuff like that. So hopefully Rihanna will be in the books really soon, but that's for me to know and you guys to find out.
I can't wait to find out. I want to circle back to Ellen, because you told me something when we were hanging out about how one of the biggest things was they were trying to give you like bumper plates and
Oh
stuff.
yeah, so that was difficult. So I came from a small island of St. Croix. I didn't know what powerlifting was, but from the phone call to, hey, this is the producer from the Ellen DeGeneres show, to the what do you need? And literally it took 14 days. So from the first phone call, I talked to them 1 week, I was flown out the next week. So I remember them saying, well, what kind of plates do you need? And they would send me pictures. I was like, no, I can't use that. They would send me bars from like Dick's Sporting Good. I was like, no, I can't use that either. So then I realized that I had to send them. So I put them in contact with Texas Strength Bar System. So they were able to kind of provide the bar. Then I reached out to a gym in that area, and they provided the weight. Bart's the name of the manager at that gym. I think it's like Barbell Brigade. They're the ones who loaned me the plates, so they were able to ship it or take it to the Ulta set. And that's kind of how it all came together. And they wanted me to squat and deadlift, but that's another thing. They didn't realize that someone has to warm up or work up to 585 pounds. I don't just pull it cold, right? So there were things that were happening behind the scenes. So as one of the other people on the show were doing their thing, I was in the backstage kind of warming up. Then I talked to Ellen, got a little cold, but I went right on and pulled 585 just fine, because that's a number that I'm used to repping. So it worked out. It worked itself out.
Ridiculous. That's the number I'm used to repping. So.
It worked itself out. It worked itself out. I was like, all right, so I've repped 585 for a triple. I definitely can pull it for a single semi-cold. Yeah. Yeah.
That's amazing. And
imagine failing on Ellen. Like,
that
imagine
would be
failing a lift on Ellen.
Unacceptable. Like, I mean, you just ruined. Like, we had one shot, and you ruined it.
I know. Yeah,
and like you having the right place, it really is a big deal, because like it represented powerlifting. You know, like it could have easily represented like CrossFit if you had like bumper. First of all, they wouldn't have fit on the bar. But you know what I mean?
I know.
A crash out, and we would have been like, what are you doing?
Exactly. No, I told them exactly what I needed. I was like, I'm not using bumpers. 585 pounds would not even fit on a bar with bumper plates. So they got everything I need. And by the time I was able to explain everything, said them exactly what I need, they just pulled it all together. And the great part is they let me donate that stuff to the guy who actually loaned me the plates. So I was able to give him like the bar and stuff like that they bought.
That's amazing. And isn't it crazy, like, how fast stuff moves? Like, when there's big money involved, like, you got a phone call, you're out there a week later, like, they're like, oh, boy, place the bar. Like, that.
Yeah.
Money.
Yep, really. I walk in. The first time I pulled on set, the first person I saw was Twitch. May he rest in peace. But I saw Twitch, so I rolled down the window. I was like, Twitch! And he was like, what's going on, girl? And we were vibing. Like when he turned on the music and I started, he was jumping, and it was great. And this is meeting Ellen. From the time I sat on the seat, I felt like her blue eyes were looking into my soul. Okay. They are blue on TV, but they are more blue in person. And I was just this oasis of blue just staring into my soul. Like, ask me anything, Ellen. Yeah, but she was so awesome. She was so awesome.
Is she funny behind the scenes too? Like, is she really
Yes.
that funny? Okay.
Yes, she is. Yes, she is. Definitely funny behind the scenes. When the cameras weren't rolling, we had a good time. It was great. It was great.
Oh my
Yeah.
God. All right. So you showed me a video of you bench pressing and it led to you needing a surgery and
Yeah.
you're dealing with a not fun injury. Can you please talk about it a little bit? You said you don't
Yep.
think a lot of people saw the video either.
Yeah, a lot of people don't even to this day, like even in my own gym, people are like, when are you competing again? I was like, well, I popped my pec. They're like, you popped your pec. So October 2023, 2 weeks out from my next competition, which would have been the American Pro 2, I was benching 391 pounds, felt great, moved great, unracked it great, started the press, the descent on the way down, halfway down on the descent, as soon as I was about to press back up, my pec just popped. So you saw my left shoulder detach. I actually heard it and saw it. I saw the ripple. People were like, you saw it. I actually saw like a rubber band, like, and you know how it like bounces.
Yes.
So I heard it and I saw it. Immediately, I knew something was wrong, but I didn't know exactly what happened. I didn't know if I pulled a muscle. I didn't know what it was. It wasn't until they racked it back and I couldn't open my hand. So they had to like take my fingers and open my hand to let go of the bar. As soon as I let go, my arm just dropped down. Like my arm just dropped. There was no, I had to take my other hand to pull it up. Like I was like, yep, something's wrong. Something's definitely wrong. And no one really saw a woman benching 391 pounds. There were more than 50 people surrounding when that happened. So I know there's tons of videos.
So I heard you. You did say like a girl who's not your client saw your pec pop like at the gym.
Yes, so she said, she's like, hi, so I'm doing online coaching. So someone reached out to me 2 weeks ago to join the team. And she's like, I don't know if you remember me, but I will introduce myself to you. I was there the night you tore your pectoral. So yeah, a lot of people did not know that I popped my pec. Like to this day, people still walk up to me like, hey, when you competing again? And I'm like, I posted a whole video. I'm still in recovery, just starting to lift heavy again. Like, so I'm back in the threes right now. I'm back to benching 300 right now. So I'm not too far from where I stopped. Yeah.
All right, we're building back. It's gonna be all right.
Yes. Yes.
One thing I want to talk about was you did the what was it? The Arnold. You were on the road stage, and you did strongman. You actually used the elephant bar. You broke
Yes.
the record there too.
Yes. Yeah. So right after, that's another thing that propelled me into everything else. When I did the first American Pro, squatted 600, re-broke my all-time world record again, and that's where I pulled 639. Then I was invited. Arnold's reached out to me like a week later, like, hey, do you want to come and do the road record breaker? So that first year, I went there and competed against the current holder of the elephant bar, which was Andrea Thompson. So it was me, Andrea Thompson, and Rebecca Roberts, and all of us pulled, and I pulled the 641 that year. But that was the first time ever touching an elephant bar. It kind of felt like a longer deadlift bar, it had more whip to it. But I remember being in the back, first time ever meeting strongman women, testing out the bar. We're all warming up, and Rebecca was like, this feels weird, doesn't it? In my mind, I was like, yeah, it does feel weird. But I was like, nope, feels normal to me. This feels great. And that's just me. I'm a mentality lifter. Like, I'm never going to tell myself something feels weird. I know when things feel off, but I'm so in tune with my body that I correct it as I go, if that makes sense. So, yeah, it's all about mindset for me.
That's really difficult though to adjust to a new bar the day of and break a record. Like I don't think people realize how hard that is because I have been using a power bar for all 10 years. And just like for funsies, when I go to a deadlift bar, I'm like, I can't do it. I only
Yeah,
pull like high fours and I can't do
yeah,
it. You have
yeah.
mid sixes on, and that whip is different. Once you pass 500 pounds, I see the bar whip. Like
Yeah, so that's what it is. Like women are right now getting into on that elephant bar where it's the whip is getting more like what the whip of the bar is for men, because when you start to get to the sevens or the 800s, that's when the bar really bends. So you think you've broken the ground, but you still have ways to go before the bar actually lifts off of the ground. So it's such a weird feeling. I can't really explain it. You have to pull on it in order to kind of know what that feeling is. Yeah.
Oh my god. So what do you
Yeah.
prefer, strongman or powerlifting?
So the one thing that I went back and they got reinvited and did the full show. So the first year when I pulled 641, all I was there for was to just pull the elephant bar on the Rogue stage. The second year they invited me, that's when the whole like I was doing the log press and the pushing of the apparatuses and throwing of stones. Let me tell you, in powerlifting, we are stationary. We don't run with random objects that could crush our toes or knock out our teeth in our hands. So Tamara was not able to go into autopilot that year. That was the year that Dan passed away as well. So people, a lot of times, a lot of things people don't realize is after pulling the 641, Dan was there with me. The second year of pulling the 651, that was me without my coach that I've had forever. We started the strongman prep together, but he died a month in of the strongman prep. And I decided that I was going to still go and I was going to get it done in his honor. And that 651 was for him. But one of the things that I remember is I couldn't go into autopilot. Like when I powerlift, like I don't hear the crowd until it's over. Then I'm like, all I hear is the judges. In strongman, I'm thinking, don't trip over your own feet, don't knock out your teeth. What did they say? Like I could not go into autopilot at all. But what do I love more? I think I have a passion for both. I want to come back with more experience because literally I only had 2 months to prep for the full show as a strongman. 2 months.
It's
I
not
learned
long.
a log press in 2 months. I learned to throw a stone when I didn't have a stone. I used a different apparatus, like something that was makeshift that one of the coaches that was strongman training me, he just made this thing that was heavy that I was throwing, but it wasn't the real thing. Um, the accessory work after your actual strongman work is so different than powerlifting. Like it was night and day, to be honest with you. And I actually like both. I want to see what I can do with a true strongman prep, if that makes sense. I think I would be a good athlete as a strongman as well if given the right amount of time to do so.
Yeah, I mean, you just saying you did shot put, so I'm like, okay, you did something that had to throw something heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
So like
Yeah, but
that's
not running with it. Shot put's a little ball.
yeah.
We literally had a stone that's the size of a tire. You have to pick it up, hold it over your head like this. I'm like, I'm about to be knocked out. Like, I am not Wilma Flintstone. Like, I'm about to trip over my own feet, knock out my teeth in front of this audience. And the strongman stage, let me tell you. So you know how I went from USAPL over to like I think the strongman stage is like the Sheffield stage if you put it in lights with the USAPL. But that strongman Arnold stage, oh my gosh. Any one of you guys that have been at the Arnolds, definitely go and take a look at the strongman show when they're doing it. Like those athletes, like that energy, it's intimidating. And with me not being able to go into autopilot, I heard everything. I even heard when I couldn't lift the log, my son was like, "Come on, mom!" Like I heard that in the crowd. Like I heard that.
That's
Yeah.
hard. Like you really couldn't lock in.
Yeah, yeah. I could not lock in. I got the first log, I got the second log, but with the last weight, the heaviest weight, I couldn't press it up. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yep.
You mentioned your coach passing, and I do remember when you were posting about that. How were you able, honestly, to continue to train? Like if they're with you from the beginning.
It was hard. That first week in the gym, this was me in the gym, literally in a hoodie like this. Because every 5 minutes, people would walk up. When I finally went back in the gym, people would walk up and be like, "Man, I'm so sorry," like, and wanting to have a conversation about it. And I'm like, what people don't realize is like how close me and my and you're a coach. I don't know if you get this close with some of your clients, not all because they're all not local, but there's just some clients you get really close with. And I remember Dan helped me with my son, like he has ADHD, and Dan had ADHD as well. And he's like, Tamara, he's gonna be okay. He's gonna grow up and he's gonna be okay. Don't feel bad that you have to include medication. And that's something that I struggled with, that he was able to help me through being a single mom. Like it's okay. I went through it too. I trained really late at night. My coach would train with me sometimes really late at night. He would come in at 11 to like 12 p.m. to train with me sometimes really late at night. Um, he traveled to all my competitions. Like, there's not much coaches that are built like him, that are made like him. Like, that's not what they do. And so I was so excited when all these things started happening for me. They started happening for him too. And that's why, even to this day, I mention him all the time. The guy that currently coaches me was a part of my team, who I introduced to Dan, who actually reminded me of Dan. So then to come full circle and now be coached by him, it's like I still kind of have that support that I need, because he knows what makes me tick, where Dan knew what kind of inspired me and drove me. But it's resilience. Like, I went through my grandmother's passing. I went through Dan's passing. I don't know how to give up. I don't know how to give up, and all I know is to, what would they want me to do? All I know is to focus on what would they want me to do right now. And I know Dan would have wanted me to show up to that road stage and get it done. And that's what I did. I went there, and 651, I didn't care what other event was done well or not. All I knew is I was taking that record and I was increasing that 641, and I did. And that's what I did.
That's really incredible. I think it's something that comes with like being an athlete, like never giving up even when things are like life is going to hell. And
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
still, it's incredible to see because that was hard.
Yeah.
And
And what if I did? Like, even in those moments, because going back to that road stage, I really haven't sat down and looked at a timeline as to what came next and what came next and what came next. But there was always that next thing. Like, what's next? Now what's next? Like, what's going to come next? What if you didn't? And that's what athletes need to realize at the end of the day. Training gets hard. I have sessions where I have walked off, went in the bathroom, cried it out, and came back to the bar. You know what I mean? Like, it's hard, but we get stronger, and giving up just can't be an option if it's something that you say that you're passionate about or you love. Giving up shouldn't be an option. It should just be like, all right, what lesson do I need to learn from what happened today? Apply it for next time. That's what it should be about.
so speaking of what's next, I know this coming Saturday, you have a big weekend. You're
I
gonna be
do.
on a big stage, but you're not gonna be powerlifting. You're not gonna be hitting no deadlift bar. You're speaking, and you
Yes.
people like Tabitha Brown and
Yes.
one of the main men in Shark Tank are gonna like people
Yes.
who I looked up to.
Yes.
Tell me
Same.
how this came about.
Same. I'm getting chills as you talk about it, because to be in the space. So this is not my first speaking event. One of the things that I've always aspired to be is a speaker. One of the things that I do see myself doing in the future is speaking to people at a younger age. And that kind of all stood there as I stood in my moment back in 2021. One of the things that I remember is I went from I'll try to I will. I went from maybe to I absolutely can. I went from this mom that was telling her daughter, you should be a doctor or you should be a lawyer, to that mom that heard her daughter say all her life, I want to work for Pixar, to you will absolutely work for Pixar. What are we going to do to get it done? Because as Black women, as just women in general, just thinking of life and the norms, the social norms is, you want to go to school to be a doctor, you want to go to school to be a lawyer, you want to go to school to do this. It's not the non-traditional things like working at Pixar, doing digital arts, things of that nature. And I couldn't see it when I was that mom, but now I can see it and pour it into my own daughter. And I'm like, if I can show her that at 14, that you can absolutely do any and everything that you set your mind to and achieve it. That's where the motivational speaker from me came from. And I just started doing Petals of a Powerlifting Mom. That's one of the speeches that I've been doing and working. And I go into corporate America and kind of talk to people just about just focusing on your destination. Like, think about you getting in a car. You're going to turn on your GPS. Some days it might take you on the same route that you're normally taking, but some days it might take you another route, but the destination's still the same. So don't focus on the things that aren't happening or the things that aren't manifesting or the things that aren't working in the moment. Stay true to your destination. You're going to get there. So I'm excited to be on the stage with Tabitha Brown because I absolutely love and adore her. And I have been talking to Tabitha Brown just like I used to talk to The Rock before he answered me in her DM. So hopefully when we meet, she'll be like, girl, I saw you do that deadlift. I know who you are. And that's what I'm manifesting. Kind of the same thing with Damon John. So I've already kind of saw in my own mind the end result, and I know it's going to be a good time. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. I'm
Yeah.
so excited. Like it's incredible that you're able to take the lessons you learn and then put it into a speech really and like be able to motivate others with that. Um,
Yeah.
is this like how long is your keynote slot? I want to know that.
30 minutes. So it's a 30-minute slot. And there'll
That's
be
a good
50.
slot.
I know, 30-minute slot. And there'll be 55 student athletes there. One of the things that's really incredible about the student athletes, they're all seniors. I'm doing this back in my hometown in the US Virgin Islands. And so that really means that some of the athletes, the student athletes there, I probably went to school with their mothers or their fathers. And I'm having conversations with them about never giving up. My daughter's a senior this year as well. So it's just really truly trying to um, everyone has a flame. For me, every single person in them has a flame burning, but I want to set it ablaze by the time I leave. I want to walk out and make sure that they're armored and they remember in their darkest moments, in those moments where they feel like quitting, that quitting is not an option because Tamara said so. Because Tamara said, just wait. Be patient. Your destination is coming. So I think one of those that I'm just really excited about having that conversation with them.
What a full circle moment to do it in your hometown to
Yeah.
students for the age of your daughter. Like,
Yeah.
oh my
Yeah.
God. It was meant for you.
Yeah.
That's like
Yeah.
meant.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just,
I really feel like it is. Like from the time my grandmother, I always used to say, she's up there in God's ear, like, you see her? You see my baby girl Tammy? You see her? And now I feel like I got Dan up there too, like, yo, did you see her? So it's like, I'm just thinking of it from that perspective. And I don't feel like anything that happens to us happens on accident. I just feel like we just have to know what to do with it when the time actually arrives. And sometimes people just don't know what to do in that moment when things arrive. Like, what do I do? Yeah.
okay. Oh my God. I don't want to take up too much more of your time. You did mention like, by the time you walk off or by the time you're gone, you want to set like fires and be like flame. When do you see yourself ever like exiting powerlifting and just being a like Tom, what's next for you? And what do you want to
So one of the things that I want to mention today, and you'll share it with your viewers, is that I'm throwing a competition called Walcott Records, January 11th, 2025. I'm throwing it at Exile, and I do see myself getting to the point where I'll be exiting powerlifting, but I'm going to dabble a little bit in the strongman side because I have some unfinished business there. But I do definitely see myself doing more motivational speaking. I actually wrote a children's book last year. I'm doing the illustrative part of it right now. My daughter is doing the illustrative part of it because she is an artist. So that's something that we are doing together that I eventually will share with the world. Working on an autobiography for myself as well. So there's a lot of different things within the powerlifting community that I'm going to still stay coaching. I'm going to still stay very much engaged with the sport, throwing these competitions. So Walcott Record is going to be a pro-am meet as long as I it. One of the great things that I'm doing at this competition is you can actually nominate a coach and you get a Daniel Fox Coach Award for whatever athletes nominate the same coach gets awarded at this competition as well. Yeah, so I'm excited about the things that I have to come. I can't wait for you guys to see everything blossom into the brilliance that it will be, and I'm just excited to share it with the world. Yeah.
incredible? Also, how can people contact you for coaching or for speaking?
Oh, everything is tamarawalcott.com. If you go to tamarawalcott.com, everything's funneled there from coaching to speaking events to whatever you need. You can just send it there. And yeah, there's an email on there, info@tamarawalcott.com.
Thank you so much for joining me. You are incredible. I can't wait to see what's next.
Thank you. Thank you. You were incredible yourself. One incredible beast in the next.
World. And y'all, I'll catch you next time on the Power and Lifting Podcast.